to the Espace Tricot podcast.
You may notice something a little different this time.
We're doing a bit of a special edition. This week we're doing a gift guide. So it's going to be a little bit of a more product-heavy episode. We've moved the camera forward. We have a table full of beautiful things. But if this is not your deal, that's okay. You can skip this one. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with more of our projects and knits and stuff. But if you are thinking about the holidays, what you'd like to knit, what you'd like to get, this is the one for you.
And having said that, I mean, we will be sort of lower on the projects, although we'll talk about what we're wearing. We may be lower on the actual knitting content, but we still have so much exciting stuff to show you from just around the store that hasn't made it into a podcast yet. Just some really cool little tools and trinkets and things that make our crafting lives easier and that we love to talk about. With customers, amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think we'll still end up digressing down some sort of like nitty philosophy type paths like usual.
Digressing is really our brand.
Yeah.
So that we'll definitely do that. Think of this as like a little visit to your LYS, hopefully with a helpful and informative LYS staffer sort of giving you all the info you need for your shopping.
Absolutely. So without further ado,
let's get into it.
We have a few different topics that we're covering today. We've sort of themed the gift guide. We will pop the timestamps down in the caption below. And so I don't know if you've used timestamps before, but basically they're these little links that will jump around the episode depending what you want to talk about or watch. And also these little timestamps can be sent to Sandra's little helpers to help them decide what you might receive under the tree or around the table or wherever and however you receive gifts at the holiday time.
Yeah, so let's dig into it. We're going to start with the thing we really love, which is gifts for knitters. So if you're a knitter, which I suspect you may be if you're watching this, these are our favorite things for you. So let's get into that.
Let's do that. So, number one thing, because this is probably, after gift cards, this is the most popular thing that we see people shopping for gifts, for gifting to knitters at Christmas. And this is interchangeable needle kits. We could, and probably will at some point, make a whole video just about these, but we're going to give you a whirlwind tour of the needle kits that we have in store and why we think they are an excellent gift for knitters or for yourself.
So, we have lots of different brands, and they all have their different strengths. One of the most popular are the Addi Click kits. So what makes the Addi special, they're obviously available in lots of different materials, and there's bamboo, there's metal, there's sharp, there's lace, there's all kinds of things. But what really makes Addi special is the way that they join together. So it's the click system. So basically the needles actually slide into a sort of divot in the cords, and they lock in really, really well. And some knitters really love these. This is their go-to, their only ones.
With the click system, you don't need any extra tool to help tighten like you do with others that we'll talk about.
They come in these nice, cute little packages.
Where are the needles? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're under a flap.
Yeah.
Get some information.
Yep.
A needle catalog. And here are the needle tips themselves. Now, this kit goes from 3.5 all the way through to 8 millimeters. So that is US 4 through to US 11. So this is basically every needle size that most knitters will frequently reach for. And then you can also, of course, buy all of the tips separately and extra cables too, which we have in stock as well. But this is a great starter kit. And what I love about this particular one, this is a short rocket set. So these are 4-inch tips, which mean it's a short enough needle tip that with the small circumference cables, you can do hats, sweater collars, everything that isn't really possible with a longer 5-inch standard tip because there's not enough leverage in the circle.
Yeah, so in general, our recommendation is if you're buying your first kit, the 4-inch tips tend to be the more flexible style because you can knit smaller circumferences with them. Some people choose 5 or even longer inch tips because of the comfort of knitting them. But when it comes to sort of getting started, a 4-inch tip set is definitely what we would recommend.
Yeah, and in terms of comfort, it's a really good length of tip to get used to because you'll come across it a lot in your knitting life, journey, adventure, when you're knitting those smaller circumferences. And there is also a little thing here to join the cables together. So you can join two together, get an extra long cable, and all of the cables themselves are in a pocket on the back. So you really can just keep everything in here ready to use, and you even get some extra little tools like this thing, which we do sell separately. Great little gauge ruler with needle tip sizer, and it can also act as a wraps per inch tool. I recommend it to a customer who's looking for one because it's got that little divot. So if you use the wraps per inch method of figuring out whether you have a DK or an Aran yarn or whatever, you can use that for it too.
So yeah, these kits are great because they really do have tons of the tools you need every day. My experience is you almost always end up adding on extra stuff, but as a way to get started, these are wonderful. And I would say Addies in particular are really popular with people who want smooth, fast knitting. They tend to be a blunter tip, so they're good for people who don't want to split their yarns. We'll talk about another set that's quite a bit sharper.
So if you have a look there, don't know how much my hand actually helped, but it is quite a blunt tip compared to common brand sold singly like Xiaogu and Haya.
So when it comes to investing in a set, it is a good idea to have first tried working with that brand's tips and cords, maybe on a one-off, to make sure that you like them. I know that if someone's shopping for you, so that's maybe something you can hint to them, like, I love working with my Addies, or whatever you need to say to get them started there. But yeah, we do recommend you give them a try before you commit to a whole kit.
It is the first question we ask when somebody comes in and says, the person I'm buying a present for wants an interchangeable kit. Our first question is, what brand of needles do they usually use? Usually the shopper does not know.
Yeah.
This is also another really good thing to get a targeted gift card for. Have a look at the amount. Gift cards can be set to any amount of money, and
yeah, you can include a note in your email for it, or like treat yourself to a kit or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd say the next most popular brand that we have are the Xiaogus, which we talk about all the time, and this is really a range that's massively expanded over the last decade or so in terms of what they offer. But the classic is the kits that you see in these black and white cases. So they have a join where there's a small join for some sizes. So here, there's a mini join for the even smaller sizes, and then there's a large join for the larger sizes. So you do end up needing sort of some adapters if you want to have the entire range. But one of the things I really love about Xiaogu needles is they have a nice weight to them, and they have a very sharp tip. So that's one thing to bear in mind. If you're someone who uses your finger to push your knitting, these can be intense at the smallest gauge. I suffer from my art, so I just go for that.
I really like them too. This is a kit that I come to time and again. I got it for Christmas one year, and I got the complete set, which, as Steph mentioned, there are in the regular sets, there are small and large screw adapters. And now here is a little picture. You can sort of get an idea of the difference in the size between them. Basically what that means is that you can adapt smaller cables up to larger tip sizes with an adapter. Otherwise you want the right kind of cable for the end of the tip, and that goes from 2.75 to 5, and then the large is like 5.5 to 12 or whatever.
The thing really about Xiaogu, I would say, is that this is the brand that I think is offering the widest range of needle size and also of tip length, and just the sheer number of choices you have. Like these kits come with these red lace cables, which have no memory, so they don't kink. They just fall right back into shape. But they've recently added another cable style called swivel, which have that same memoryless element to them, but they also swivel in their tips. So
I really like the swivel because they are a little lighter. One feedback that we've heard from the red cables is that some people don't like them for Magic Loop because they are quite, I'm not going to say stiff, but they're a bit heavy. I really do still like them for Magic Loop, but you might want to go like extra long for Magic Loop versus like being able to use a 24-inch for a sock or something.
That's
you can't
right.
quite get that going. But for the value for what you get for these kits is incredible. The complete set goes from a US 2 to a US 15. So that's a 2.75 millimeter up to 10 millimeter. So that's several sizes more than the Addy
clip
comes
sets,
with. And then they just have so much variety: 4-inch, 5-inch, small tips, large tips, and the iconic cult favorite shorties. Now we have these in blue and red, and they are upcoming in yellow. We've got some coming as well. The yellow set will be even bigger sizes. These are, as the name suggests, very short tips. So the red set goes from US 0 to 3, 2 millimeter to 3.25 millimeter, and it comes with tips that are 5 centimeters long and 8 centimeters long. So 2-inch and 3-inch tips.
They're so cute.
They're adorable. They're in this cute little pocket, and that's it. That's the set. You've got all the cables in there too. And these are fantastic for sleeves, for socks, for really short circumference knitting, because they really are that wee. Look at that.
So my advice, I will say, as the interchangeable needle addict here, is that before investing in short kits, it's a really good idea to try knitting on a 9-inch or 12-inch circular needle and see how you feel about the grip. I find when I'm knitting English style, I can work with them, but when I knit continental, which is my more usual style, I can't quite find enough space in my hand grip to hold them properly. So before you go all the way with these, try that out. We have lots of 9-inch and 12-inch fixed circulars in stock, so you give one a try and see how you like it. Some people just love it, and it's a game changer for them. So these are really wonderful, and the fact that they're expanding into having the full range of their sizes pretty much in them. I mean, I don't think there's a 10 millimeter yet, but
well, I was surprised by how big the yellow kit is going to go. We had always sort of been told that they can't go bigger than the blue set, which goes up to 5 millimeter. We always were sort of led to understand that you couldn't go bigger than that
still get a good join.
And still get a good join,
That's
or still
why.
get the good transition from
needle to cable,
chunky needle to thinner cable, and be able to hold it because it's so stubby. So the yellow ones, I did look into it actually. It is actually a smaller kit. You don't get 10 sets of needles like you do with these, or 8 or 10. It's only the 3-inch.
Okay.
Not actually
that makes sense.
2-inch, because then some of them would almost be wider than they are around. So,
and those are on the way, and maybe even by the time this podcast is live, we may have them in stock. So just check out the Xiaogu section on our website. You can search by brand, and you'll be able to see all the different things that we have in stock. Yeah. And the key thing with the Addies and the Xiaogus especially, and another brand that we'll mention, is that, you know, these are brands we're committed to. We have the extras. We have the extra tips. We have the extra cables and tools that go with them. So, you know, if we're your LYS, we can tell you, if you get yourself into one of these kits, we're going to be able to hook you up for many years in the future if you want to add on to that.
Yeah. A small aside, while we have these out, is a gorgeous special gift if somebody you're buying for, or if you yourself already have the shorties. This is the ultimate set for kit. Case for storing them. This is made by Jezebel Boileau here in Quebec, nearby in Audubon Park. And she designed this. She's Jezebel B on Instagram, and we've stocked her beautiful bags for years. We have more to talk about later. She designed this specifically for putting both the Xiaogu shorties sets together.
It was great. I loved it.
Making my way through it.
So yeah, you can put, if you have more than one shorty set, you can put them all together in this beautiful case.
There are 2 layers of slots here for the tips. You can put your cables up here. There is a super secure velvet. Here I go again. Velcro pocket on the side. Maybe I need a cup of coffee before continuing. And somebody asked a very appropriate question on Instagram when we posted about these. Will the new yellow sets fit in? So I did a little bit of poking around. That's when I learned that the yellow set is actually only 4 tips. I did some poking around for information. Jezebel designed this before the yellow sets were announced. It's quite new. But as it happens, there are extra pockets within here above and beyond what the blue and red shorties kits need. And the larger pockets here are quite wide. So I reckon the yellow shorties set should also be able to fit in here, no problem as well. If it comes to it, you could just store the extra tips in the pouch on the side, and that would work perfectly fine too. So there are even some extra slots if you end up buying extra tips to expand that.
Naomi put together a really cute video that's on our Instagram of sort of putting everything in here and then folding it up. And one of the things that Jezebel mentioned to us is you really do want to do the tri-fold with this. Don't roll it. It's fold, and then it stays nice and tight, and it's going to keep everything secure.
It's not designed to do this. In fact, I think if you do that, the Velcro doesn't even line up. It's not a tool roll. It's more like a fold and fold, and then you've got plenty of slack there to accommodate the bulk when it's full of needles.
Yeah.
So that's
beautiful.
that. We have a few different fabrics too. You can check them out online. Denim as well.
And then 2 more brands of needle sets. The one that I kind of brought into the mix when we became owners of the shop is Kinky Amibari Sea Knit. So I had fallen in love with these and was stocking them in my little website, and then I was like, I would really love to bring them in. So these are bamboo. So you'll notice mostly what we've shown you before has been metal. Both the Xiaogu and the Addies are available in bamboo. This brand is only available in bamboo. And they are just the most beautiful, soft, sort of satin finish, warm bamboo tips.
They're so smooth.
They're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
They have just enough grip that you're usually when you're going to a wood needles because you want a little bit more grip, you want your yarn to stay put, and I feel that they do that without being sort of like difficult
Grippy,
to work
snug,
with.
yeah.
And what I particularly love about them is the join. It's really super easy to screw these in and get a tight enough screw to the cables without using a torque key or anything, and they just stay put. These also have different sizes of screws, so when you're looking at them, you want to make sure that you're covering what you need. We have the adapters.
Different sizes of cables.
Yeah, so this is the full kit. We have a few different versions of the full kit, but we talked about these before. They're great.
This is a mini. I'm not going to open it because it's taped up nicely at the back, but this is a really good set. This format, you'll see them. They're the
4-packs?
they're still called icy sets. I don't know if they have a separate name online, but they're at half the price or something, and you get 4 tips instead of the whole full thing. So this is actually what they're fantastic for, is if you're traveling and you've got like a sweater project on the go, for example. This is US 4678 or 3.54, 4.55 millimeter. So that's not going to do every project you're ever going to knit, but it's probably going to do the majority, or for example, it's going to take care of the different sizes of needle you might need for a sweater, the ribbing,
Changing the
cuffs,
rib,
whatever. And it's a great little intro set to the brand, but we also have all the parts sold separately. And these are really light, and their cables are really light. So we've had some feedback that they work really well if you're starting to get a bit of stiffness in your hand, or if you're finding that it's difficult to knit for a longer time, if you have trouble twisting. These kind of take a lot of that effort out of it for you. You don't need to hold a key really tight while you twist them
and worry about losing your key.
Exactly.
You can use them without going and digging around for extras.
And then when you're holding your project, the cable itself and the needle itself is so light that adding like barely a gram to the weight of your project. At the same time, they're really sturdy, and both of us knit our folly skirts on them.
Yeah, so
that's
really
probably
big
the biggest project I've ever done in terms of
like the weight
of
one circular piece. Is metal needles are amazing for their speed and everything, but there can be glare from them. So the other thing I've heard from people is that if you are having trouble with your eyes, or you find that you need to use a really bright light to be able to see what you're knitting, the other nice thing about a bamboo needle is that you're not going to get the glare off of it. And I just started, like, my eyes are really starting to go, and I'm having to wear my glasses a lot more, and I feel it more.
Interesting.
Especially trying to find the marking on it and trying to read it. I find that's almost impossible for me on the metal needles unless I block the glare from light. So this is something also to consider before investing in a kit, is what are the materials that work best, not just for your hands, but for your eyes.
Yeah.
So finally, this is a brand that we've loved for a long time. It's the Haya Haya. And over the course of the pandemic, they got really, really hard to get. And so we kind of had to make a decision about them. So at this point, we are no longer bringing in the tips and cable extras for these, but we have also put them on sale. So if you're looking for a great deal on a kit, the Haya Haya Interchangeables might be the one for you.
This is a large sizes only that we're left with, but they are fantastic for those quick knit, chunkier projects, and maybe some sizes that you might not already have in another kit.
And what's nice about these, I feel like they walk the line between the Addi and the Xiaogu in terms of the tip. It's pointy, and there's a nice, there's a word for this, bevel, I don't know, but it's not, they're not super sharp at the actual tip, but they're really good for getting into your stitches. They're also incredibly lightweight. I think they are hollow, and that's part of it, is that if you're looking for, the Xiaogus can feel a little heavy.
They're solid surgical steel, I
exactly. Versus these have a lightness to them.
These are a little smoother than Xiaogu too. I find the Xiaogu is not a matte polished metal, but that is something that people find. Xiaogu is a little in between sort of the super slick Addi coating Then there's higher would be slightly less slippery than Addy, then Xiaogu, then Bamboo. That's how I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unofficial ranking.
So yeah, if you're finding high interchangeable stuff on our website, it is on sale. It also does mean that we likely won't be bringing it back. But they're great quality. There's nothing wrong with them at all. And I think if it hadn't been for that that supply chain issue,
that was the push that led
to make a decision. So that's an opportunity to save a little bit of cash there and get them on sale. Okay, well, and I think that pretty much wraps up our needle sets.
Yeah.
And of course, always, if you have questions, need advice, want to tell us about your specific knitting needs, we're here. We answer our emails. We try to do it within a couple of days, so we'll get back to you with an answer.
So keeping on with our gifts for knitters section, which could have been a whole interchangeable needle section on its own, but there we go. We have a bunch of just cute little gifts. Little trinkets picked up from around the store.
And the kind of thing that you can kind of never have too many of. So even if you are shopping for somebody and where they may have it already, this is the kind of thing that you put another one in another project bag, you put it in another spot where you like to knit, you're never going to be sad that you have an extra.
Totally.
So I know we talk about cocoa knits all the time, but and there's a whole range of stuff, but I brought some of my favorites. This is like, I love how innovative the company is. So this is actually a needle gauge, and it looks like this, like a little...
It's leaf-shaped in cross-section.
Oh,
I think was the idea.
Oh, it's so cute.
I think.
To me, it makes me think of like a pack of Lifesavers or something.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Basically, there's a little hole, and you can put your needle in there to see what size you've got, and it comes out sort of like, almost like measuring cups. It gives me that vibe, too, of like...
teaspoons or something.
Yeah, something... Anyway, so... Really simple thing that is so easy to throw in your bag and is cute and also can help you identify your needle
always
tips.
Need one. I'm always losing them. Especially if you don't have an interchangeable set and you have lots of individual needles. Sometimes those can get really difficult to see because some of the companies put the information on the cable and obviously it rubs off.
Yes.
And you're lost. So
so these are just great to have. Have one in each knitting bag, each project bag. Another thing is these fabulous stitch stoppers. We have some other ones to show as well from another brand. These are little foam rings that go on the ends of your needles to hold your stitches in place. Again, I find I'm always losing these under the couch, so I'm always refilling. This is something you could put in a stocking. You're going to make a crafter very happy.
They do, at the same time, they're not disposable. They're not single use. Mona's been using hers for years. I think there's a range of sizes in there. So they're a really reliable product.
And then, always tape measures.
Who doesn't need a tape
where
measure?
do they go? I don't know where they all live and where they disappear to, but I hope they're happy. So this is a Cocoa Knits one that comes in a number of colors, and it's kind of got this very nice ergonomic hand feel to it. We also have Espace Tricot branded tape measures, lots of different options there, but I just think there's something so pretty about these. And there's also like neutral stuff as well, but I grabbed the color.
I love this color palette, and part of the beauty of Cocoa Knits is it just has such a identifiable and consistent aesthetic across all of its products and they're all just useful and none of them are extraneous. And so I think, one of my top things to get if I were to open it, what might make me happier than yarn even, would be, one of everything in their line in an adorable little project bag bundle, or even just wrapped up nicely with craft paper, would be an absolutely gorgeous, generous, cohesive, and endlessly useful gift. Somebody's going to be thinking sweetly of you every time
they go to knit.
You've saved their life by
exactly
having the right thing at the right time. They have a bunch of other things too that we don't have time to show you. We'll link to just the brand page for Cocoa Knits down below, but they all just go beautifully together. Everything from tapestry needles to stitch markers to
cable needles,
storage options, everything.
So you mentioned that you have done like a Secret Santa in your craft group before.
This is also sort of what inspired me to pull together all these little things that we often just don't get around to mentioning on the podcast, because all of these are in a really good budget range for stocking stuffers, Secret Santa, any sort of low budget gift exchange or donation programs that you may be getting into around the holiday season. And a few years ago, my knitting group did a Secret Santa, and we did again, just to sort of keep it accessible and fun, it was 100 grams of yarn and a little trinket, but it could be something from your stash. We totally used it as an option to destash, but it was a fun chance to give an extra little thing with that, like some people chose nail polish or whatever, but these that we're showing you now are perfect ideas for that. So if you haven't done a gift exchange or Secret Santa within your crafting group, this is your sign to do one. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Here's another, speaking of, another really cute little option in that vein. These are, I have another one here. This is far from the whole range of colors that we have. These are just what caught my eye as I was pulling this together. These are needle stoppers again, or stitch stoppers that fix really well on the end of needles. And I've used these on 4.5mm Addy turbos and they stuck. That is quite a wide, that like we were saying about turbos, they're blunt.
Yeah.
These still fitted on. They do not come off.
No, they don't.
They do not.
They're a kind of a sticky silicone.
Like a rubber.
Yeah, so they really grip well. And then also Laura, who creates these for Camp Fiber Yarns, she recommends that if you're working with really small needles, you could just put one on both your needles.
Yeah, like sock needles.
Stoppers.
Or,
Yeah.
and then you've got two of them. So if you've got DPNs, you can still kind of figure it out.
Yeah, take your sock and
so on either end.
Yeah, they're really wonderful, and you're right. They grip like anything. So when I'm going to put a project into deep sleep, this is what I put on to make sure that I'm not going to accidentally pull it out of the bag going, what is this? And end up losing all my stitches.
And were you saying, are they made out of the kind of material that the beads on like pacifier chains?
Yes, exactly. So they are also like they're non-toxic and all of that good stuff too. So you know, I don't know if you like to chew on your stitch stoppers, but if you do, it's totally safe to do that. And so
maybe don't do that.
And these at $6.75 a pair, you can get a better deal for a really useful tool.
Yeah. And then we've got not just a useful tool, but a fashion accessory. Have you got yours on, Steph?
Oh, I sure do.
These are wrist rulers. They are printed leather, stamped with centimeters and inches, and they have this little Chicago stud at the end, so they hold on really well. And I don't think these were even developed for knitters, but they just happen to be super useful.
Yeah, I think they were originally sort of for handy guys, tool dudes.
So if you're shopping for any tool dudes in your gifting
tool ladies,
or tool ladies, or tool folk,
but you really get the sense that they got like sort of taken by surprise by how these were embraced by the craft world.
The number of times that you could get these for anybody, the number of times that I found it useful when among non-knitters to have like a measuring tool on me. And they just look really cool.
Yeah.
So we have the natural leather finishes in a range of different lengths.
Yeah. So I'm wearing an 8-inch one. I have a longer one as well, but even the 8-inch is great, like for measuring swatches or even just most things that I'm working on in terms of length progress that I need to measure. More than 8 is unusual, like maybe for the body of a sweater, but most of the time you're like, oh, am I done the yoke? Am I done my hat body?
Yeah, or maybe you've got like a stitch marker and it's like continue for 2 more inches and you can measure from where your removable marker was. And then we also have the key fob format if a wristband is not your thing. So this is super useful, sturdy keychain, and it goes up to 15 centimeters or 6. Upside down, 6 inches.
Well, you know what I really like with these is throw them on your project bag.
True, yes.
Sort of like add them to like some of our project bags have D-rings, like our Petites Pochettes and our Grande Pochettes, that you could just put it onto.
That's so true.
Or onto the zipper pull.
This could go onto a D-ring really easily. This, because it opens and closes, you could open it, loop it around something. I would say like this is, it's a really sturdy keychain. It's the kind that like you're going to break your nails trying to open itself, but it's just a really useful format for attaching it in any kind of way.
Yeah. So
that's that. I think we just have 1 or 2 colors of these.
We went for the natural tones. We find that they held up the best. They look nice over time. So those are great.
And then in a similar looking little tin, we've got something which we actually do talk about all the time.
Yeah,
because we use them all the time, TKB cords. And this is another of those things where knitters can never have enough. Part of me was like, okay, I'll get 1 set to use it. And then like I got another one. And then I was like, oh, I need another one for this project. And then we needed a sample for the store so that we could try things on when sampling brought them in.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's like, I feel like your choices, you can either have a bunch of these to put in your projects that go away for a time to rest and think about what they've done.
Yeah.
Or you can have, extra cables for your needles.
Yes.
Whereas like with these, I end up rescuing all of my interchangeable cables and putting them back in my kit because my project is safely stored on these.
That's true. I'm making a mess of this, but we've shown these before. You have a 60-inch one, and then 2, I think, 30-ish inch ones. Basically, think of it as like Perfect tool for putting your sleeves aside at a separation.
And then the body.
You use them as like stitch stoppers themselves.
Yeah,
too,
so
'cause you can kind of like
put one on each end, and then you can kind of let your project go onto this.
Yeah, you don't have to transfer your whole project onto one of these to try it on, for example. You can put one end of the cord on one needle and the other end of the cord on the other needle and let your project sort of slacken out onto it so that you can try it on. And then that's a super easy way to just, then you kind of yoink this back out and your stitches slide back onto the needles again, and it's a lot less work than transferring.
Oh, absolutely. And my yoink is not the word I would use to describe what I do. One thing, I know some people do struggle. They're worried about losing their stitches with them. And my advice with that is always push your stitches sort of through, like push things, don't pull. Don't, use the cord to pull on, push with your needle.
And then a few finishing tools, because these are these are really boring to buy yourself.
Yes.
I'm just going to admit it. Who wants to buy themselves knit blockers? But if somebody buys them for you,
you're like,
yes!
Amazing.
So here are the rainbow knit blockers. This is basically a comb, really pointy. They're blocking pins mounted in a little plastic frame so that you get them really lined up nice and straight. And there's a whole bunch in here that are really good for getting nice crisp edges on sweaters, shawls, anything you need to open up. But at the same time, they are so pointy that you can use them as, if you need to, like one individual
as a pin. Sort of drag something to get like a scallop edge.
Exactly. I've used it on a scallop edge where like one point goes on one edge of the pin, and then the comb is like, it's really even length. So like if you use the first and last pins in the comb, you're going to get that precise measurement between your scallops every time.
Yeah. So these are fantastic, and they're also kind of the thing that, you have one, great. You have two, even better. Like they're the kind of thing that's nice to have a couple packages of.
And it's super easy to tidy them away. I've never lost any because you just pop them right back into the box.
Yeah.
It has like a foam thing to hold them all still. And then this is one of the kind of surprising sleeper hits amongst our tool range, the Walcott wires, blocking tools. Really handy little pouch, and what sets this apart is how compact it is. We've had blocking wires in the store for years, and they're like in these sort of 2 meter long tubes like poster tubes from the museum or something, and we couldn't even ship them, but we can ship you these. Really lightweight wires, beautifully stored, just like these things are really sturdy, these kind of twist ties.
And they're reusable.
You can reuse them. And so you got those, you got some instructions, and you got some pins as well in a nice little plastic-free packaging. We really like that. And there's tons of room in here too if you wanted. You can probably just do that. There's your blocking kit ready to go.
Oh yeah, that's a nice idea.
Ta-da!
Yeah, and so easy to put away with your stash, and then you know where your things are when you're looking for them again.
Or if you're traveling. Although I don't know if knit blockers should go on an airplane.
I don't know. That would be a weird one.
I'm not going to try it. So this includes 475 centimeter wires, 300 centimeter wires, and 30 pins.
So another very popular category that we talk about a lot at the holidays is bags, project bags, knitting bags of all kinds.
Guaranteed you do not have enough already.
Yes. This is the kind of thing that sometimes knitters are reluctant to buy for themselves because we like to spend our money on yarn. Yeah. So it's a great thing to ask for, and we have so many different choices and styles. We'll do a little whirlwind tour.
Yeah.
So we talked about Jezebel before with her shorties case. This is her project bags as well. So in a variety of fabrics. And the idea is that you can drape these over your arm and you can knit from them as you walk, stand, hang out, whatever.
They're perfect if you knit on public transit, for example. And they just sort of sit almost like a bucket as well at home if you have it beside you on the sofa.
I'll get it going here.
We mentioned this one last episode, specifically this gorgeous leather, and this is the largest format we have. But we also have smaller ones. Steph's even turned it into
you can just tuck the sort of arm loop underneath, and then it can stand up and actually be knit from this in this way.
The leather one does that too. It's got like a gusset on the bottom, and then the top opens with snaps so that you can have everything ready to go.
Open and ready so that you can see what you're working on.
We even have a tiny little one, which is still hanging up there, in leopard print, which is so much fun, that's perfect for socks.
Oh, yeah, it's just exactly the right size for a sock knitter. And we can't show you yet, but we have some new prints from Jezebel. She does a Christmas special every year a holiday special. And so we do have that fabric coming, but we can't show you yet.
No, it's going to be super cute though.
Yeah,
maybe by Friday we'll be able to tell people.
Maybe.
We
We're
don't
waiting
know
for
yet.
word on that.
Yeah.
But if you just check out our site, of course, we'll feature it on our homepage, put it up front, and make sure you can find it. So there's those, and then what else do we have?
I like these ones because this is your answer to that eternal question of zip or drawstring. Many people have very specific preferences in their project bags, whether they want a zip or a drawstring. Now, Love It, handmade, hand screen printed in the Netherlands, come in these gorgeous bright prints in both formats, and it's a bit stiff at first because it's this fantastic high quality canvas, but it'll soften up beautifully.
Yeah. And they have the gusset as well, so they can stand up.
And what I love about this zip, and like somebody bought one of these last week, and at the cash they were like, I love this zip because of this same reason. It's chunky plastic. It's a gorgeous fun color. I hope she puts pink ones on all of them in the future. But it doesn't have those fine metal teeth for yarn to get stuck in. It just won't happen.
Yeah, so that's why some people might prefer a drawstring to a zipper if they've had a bad experience and gotten scared off of the zipper. One of the tricks I have is that when I'm closing my zippers, I put my finger underneath it while I'm closing it, like that, so that I know I'm not getting any yarn stuck in it.
For sure.
But for sure, it's that's part of it. Is if you're going to stuff it really, really full, the zipper can get a little dangerous.
At the same time, though, it is this.
Yeah.
It's a zipper that, as far as the zipper can, will avoid that for you while keeping everything secure.
But if you're shopping for somebody else, I guess I would say probably drawstring is a safer choice. Most people
probably
like
if
it.
you don't know that about them.
Yeah.
So those are those.
And speaking of drawstrings, we have the Magner bags as well.
We love these. They're even more spacious. Magner bags, handmade in Georgia. They have these beautiful, useful leather straps on either side. The perfect little thing to attach like a D-ring with all of your accessories hanging off it.
And you can't see them, but these are made from a waxed canvas, so they have water resistance. Or if you want to, if you're putting these in a bag with other stuff, this is a really nice choice because it's going to keep your yarn protected from any spills or rain or anything like that.
If you're traveling and you have this in a suitcase with some toiletries, for example, you might still want to keep those separate, but you won't be so worried.
And then the inside has these great, very useful pockets. There's this actual zip pocket, which is like rare on these kinds of bags, so that you can, any like stitch markers, things that are going to fall out. There's some needle pouches, and then there's also, as always, which I tend to not use, but there's a large pocket with yarn guides as well. So some people like to use these to thread their yarn through that they're working with. The only thing I find with that is then you can't take your yarn out of the project bag until you're finished.
Yeah, but if you use grommets, they're
there.
And the workmanship in those bags is just
they're fantastic. And
they're
they really
sturdy.
do. They'll hold right up to a big sweater's worth.
And they wear really beautifully.
Yeah. So that's those.
And then I would say lastly, in the drawstring range, we have these beauties from Yarn and Whiskey.
So Yarn and Whiskey is an awesome brand out of the United States where she really designs her own fabrics and is an incredible designer. She's doing her master's, I believe, right now in design, in fabric design. So she pairs the interior and the exterior.
So much fun. And one of our constant favorites, Hide and Hammer. We still have some of our exclusive print that they made, especially for us, that we love.
Our pink tartan.
Pink tartan. And, well, we've talked about these
many
many times before. You know how much we love them.
much.
But they are just such a great size, the large one. Because of the sort of lunch bag style roll up, it actually, you can fit so much in, and even when it's packed full, you still have this long, like, extendable leather fastener I've managed to squeeze this thing closed with, I think I used it for my folly skirt.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, all of the yarn for that, too. So, it really is as much as probably most projects would
ever need.
Yeah.
And this is, as Naomi said, we've mentioned it before, it's an exclusive print that we did as a partnership with Hide and Hammer to celebrate our 1 year together as business partners. So really, when these ones are gone, they're gone.
And it has, they even put a little stamp on it, so you know it's from Espace Tricot. And in that delivery, I think they all got, that was an older one.
Yeah, this one didn't.
But if you get the other Hide and Hammer bags too, most of them have our logo stamped on.
Yes, it's really cool. So yeah, this is the slightly smaller format, better for people who are doing socks or shawls, but also really nice for using this to, just like we were talking about with the Jezebel bag, where you can hook this on your arm and then you can knit from it.
It is still surprisingly roomy. I have one of them too.
Yeah.
And I've carried sweaters until like after the sleeve split in them, for example. Right at the beginning when you're getting started with a sweater project, they'll fit in for sort of a surprisingly...
So this is the
long
08?
Yes.
So this is called the 08 roll top bag. The other one is the 03 roll top bag. So you can see sort of the size difference there.
Still good over your arm.
Yeah.
And then I saved, not the best for last, but
One of the best.
One of the best.
These are great.
Now this is a two-parter because these are our Petites and Grandes Pochettes, which are so much fun to pair together because we have, I think, quite a few, not every colour match at the moment in the whole range of what we do, but Jocelyn has just delivered a whole bunch of new gorgeous Petite Pochettes and Grand Pochettes that match together, and you can either, they have a claw clip on the side and a little D-ring so you can carry them together, but you don't have to. And since we were talking about zips, again, the same thing applies. You might want to be careful when you're closing them, but they're so deep that mostly your project isn't going to be right up to the top anyway. They've got this gorgeous depth and a nice wide gusset. So most 2 or 3 skein projects, you know, you might stuff them in, but you're still not really worried about yarn poking up and getting caught in the zip.
I haven't had an issue. I use mine a lot, and I find that I haven't had an issue with it. I think also part of the beautiful design is this detail here at the end too. So you are not running the zipper right to the end. I find that's where I always get into the mess.
Right.
So I haven't found that issue with it. And just to the shorthand of, we're talking about Jocelyn Malrick. She's an incredible sewist. She's an incredible knitter, and a teacher, and we're lucky to have her kind of as a teacher. It's part of our team, but she doesn't work in the store, and so she makes these for us. This is her own design that she created. This was sort of a collaboration of looking for something to go with it.
So this is the Petite Pochette, and I'll just open it up like that to show how beautifully it sits when it is open beside you. You've got everything right there ready to go, and then as soon as you're done, nothing's going to fall out the sides because it's got these special little flaps, and when you zip it up, it's just so nice and compact.
And I thought, just since, you know, we have this beautiful color palette, and it is also partly what inspired our Bon Tricot line. So if you've got someone who has a specific color that they love, that you are looking to put together like a color palette for them, you could go with a skein or 2 of Bon Tricot yarn and a matching pochette as well. So this is our lichen colorway. For example, this is our old gold honey mustard. So we know of, definitely with our staff and our people, whose colors is whose.
Yeah.
This is just a lovely way you could put together a really beautiful presenting sort of package for somebody that's really color themed for them.
So first of all, it is definitely a time of year when I start getting asked a little bit more, can you teach me to knit? Or like maybe you're home for the holidays, or you're welcoming guests and they see you knitting or crocheting and you're like, can I do that? Can you show me how? So this first section, we have both, I mean, you have 2 options. You can get these to help you teach people, or you can get these to fob off on other people. Go away into your corner and teach yourself. So, do you want to hold a few up?
Yeah.
Let's have a look through. An oldie but a goodie, a real classic, Knitting Without Tears, Elizabeth Zimmerman. She's just, you know, the godmother of knitters everywhere. This isn't really a how to knit book. It's a how to be confident in your knitting book. You have thoughts about this, I think.
Yeah, I'll just say quickly that it's great for adventurous beginners and intermediate knitters, people who are ready to start using basic math to make their own sweaters. She's incredibly clear about how you do that, and very funny and very warm. And like you said, she builds your confidence. She lets you know that you know everything you need to know to do this. And I find that it's just a lovely voice to have in your ear when you're making that next step. So this is for our intermediate and advanced beginners.
Yeah. Similarly, Stephanie Pearl-McPhee, Knitting Rules. She became known through her incredibly funny, accessible, and readable blog, which is still going, of course. And this is, again, not a... It has some tutorials in it, I believe.
It has a lot of recipes, I would say. It's like how to knit a scarf, how to knit a hat, how to knit a shawl. It's got basic information for you to be able to do that from scratch without a pattern. And again, like Elizabeth, a different sense of humor, but a very, very funny, woman. And I also think for some of our younger knitters who maybe weren't around for the great blogging age, who may have missed her, what a great way to introduce somebody to her voice. She has other books as well that are very funny, that have less pattern in them. But, you know, she's hilarious. And it's nice to be made laugh. You know, like you can sit down and read this like a book.
Totally. And it's very much like the tips and tricks aren't just about like how to get neat edge stitches. They're about how to build your stash, how to use your stash, how knitting emergency preparedness techniques.
Basically, I think it's like how to use your piano to store your yarn.
Right.
I think that's an actual tip in there.
So just like all sorts of tips around knitting, how to make your knitting life easier in the way that we were talking about tools. It's not yarn, it's not needles, but they're indispensable parts of your knitting toolkit.
Yeah, and just so much fun to read.
As an actual true how to knit and how do I do this book skill set is fantastic. It's small, it's light, it's got beautiful illustrations, really simply laid out. There we go. For example, like gorgeous little color palettes, beautifully graphically designed. It is by the Modern Daily Knitting people, who have a fantastic in-depth blog to like. They will talk about tension and gauge, but they'll talk about like the difference in your gauge between knitting from the inside of the ball and the outside of the ball.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
They get
next level deep. But this is not next level deep. This is a brilliant surface survey of how to get started with no extra.
Well, and there's also a bunch of videos tied into this as well. So if you're trying to help somebody who needs that video stuff, you're not around to show them necessarily. What's nice is that everything that's laid out in the book also has video tutorials associated with it, so you can go and look at those if a book is not enough.
Mm-hmm. And it's a super approachable little set, like 9 little lessons, really focused, but giving anyone the tools to get confident and move on if they want to.
In a similar vein, this is the Knit How from Pom Pom quarterly that when they publish books, they tend to be great. And this is one of our favorites. We just brought it back for the holiday season because we know this is going to be a big one. So similar to Skill Set in that it's an intro, but there's a number of patterns in it as well that can get you started. So great thing to take home with you with some yarn maybe if you've got somebody you'll be seeing over the holidays that you want to get started. This is a fabulous one.
And I would say out of all of this here, these two and perhaps this third one, if you're looking for a combo of everything somebody might need to not only start knitting but get excited about knitting and be motivated enough to keep with it, these are the books to bundle together. It helps often to have two different perspectives and two different, like watching two different YouTube videos. One of them will click, you know, so it's good to sort of put these together in tandem, for example.
Absolutely.
As a gift.
And then for our Francophone viewers and our Francophone customers, we also recently brought in this Les Basiques de Madame Sophie, or Mademoiselle. I always want to Madame her, and she's a Mademoiselle. Apologies, Sophie. So similar to Skill Set, and it's more like Knit How actually, because there are some patterns in here as well, and there is also video stuff that goes with this. So we're really excited to have this on our shelves so that we have something for our Francophone customers that we feel has got that same modern, fresh, crisp approach to knitting. So we love this one.
Yeah, and again, it also has video support, 20 videos and 11 patterns included. And again, just like really beautiful, as Steph said, modern layout, sensibility. QR codes. I wonder where those go, you know? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
So those are our boot camp knitting essentials. So the next section is gifts for non-knitters, which is probably realistically most of the people that you're shopping for might not knit, but we have every year we have people coming in who, it's so sweet, want to support their local yarn store, and this may be the case where you live as well, want to buy local, but what do you get for people who don't knit? We do have lots of options, and I thought this was a good segue from the bags section because these petite pochettes actually make fantastic pencil cases, or I know Jocelyn carries one about her with all her like chargers, headphones.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Like cable management or lip balms or just anything you need to carry with you every day. So I have another one for a pencil case. So great fun for kids.
Well, especially because stuff doesn't fall out. So it's really easy to put down on the table. They can use it, and then it's easy to zip it back up and get everything put away.
And then if it's in your bag, even I carry buttons around in my Notions pouch one. The buttons never fall out, even if you've got tiny little things in there.
They're going to stay
It's going to stay in. So these are a great gift for anybody.
Yeah, and made in Quebec, made here in Canada. So if that's something that you're looking for on your shopping list as well, you're supporting independent makers here in Quebec. So, let's do the gleaners next.
Yeah.
This is something I have at home. I can definitely talk about how much I love them. We've talked about the actual gleaner itself a number of times. This is for cleaning your knits, but it also works on coats. It works on sofas,
and
all
it's
kinds
really
of stuff.
good for store-bought cashmere, for store-bought fine knits that do pill really finely, but you don't want to take any kind of bladed thing to them. And it's really great on pet hair too. It has it's double-ended, so it's got this non-blade shaver, and then on the other end is a brush, which is great for pet hair.
Yeah, fabulous.
So again, kind of seems like a boring thing to buy, seems like a boring thing to give, but the recipient will be absolutely thrilled every time they reach for it. I've given them to my mum, to my granny. My mum keeps hers by the door, I think, and just like brushes herself down before she goes out. We always come in the morning and give our Steves a little shave before we open. Indispensable.
And then I'm a recent convert to these. These are dryer dots, so they're basically felted wool balls. You put them in your dryer, and we were having trouble where like our dryer wasn't drying things enough anymore. So I was like, well, maybe these will help. And in fact, not only do they help, I don't use bounce sheets or fabric softener at all.
They replace dryer sheets,
which is incredible because they will last a much longer time, and I feel really good about that decision. So there's a half dozen in each bag, and that'll do you for a while.
Totally.
Yeah, and they also make a very satisfying and funny little bumping
Clunking
sound
around,
when they're in there. So yeah, these are fantastic for pretty much anybody on the list.
And then, Gleaner, another hyperlocal company. They're not far away. They hand deliver everything. Really fun and motivating, inspiring to like see their growth.
This big, huge company that really comes from right here. And that Espace Tricot was one of the very first yarn shops to have their products. So we feel like we are part of that story a little bit.
In that journey with Gleaner, we will always carry Gleaner there. It's one of the tools we absolutely the most believe in.
What else we got here? Well, obviously
we have our mugs.
Our Bon Tricot mugs. So also like super fun for knitters as well. So, obviously if you have a coffee lover and you just want to get something super cute to support.
Or tea or anything.
Yeah. But also a great for if you're shopping for an Espace Tricot fan too. This is a nice little extra. You could stick a ball of yarn in it. Well, pretty cute.
Yeah, I just love these little fellas.
Yeah, they make they brighten our day. We each have one that we drink our coffee from when we're here at the store. So this is something that you could.
Which one do you have? You have this one, don't you?
No, I have.
Do you have that one?
I thought this was yours.
No, mine is.
Yours is this
mine
one.
Is
so this one's mine.
I have the one that has this fellow.
Yeah, so I have this.
I like
one.
him.
Him, her. We don't know what they are. They're genderless. So we have those, and then
how about a couple like different crafty things?
Yeah.
So I guess this is sort of I don't know if this is actually really a present for a non-knitter, because spinning is sort of like the next level thing you try after you've got really into knitting, but we thought it belonged in this section. We have some learn to spin, or I shouldn't say that because full disclosure, there isn't any sort of booklet with these, but it's everything you need to get started with spinning. It's everything I had when I started spinning, which is a really simple drop spindle and 2 little bundles of really sweet, fun, hand-dyed fibre from Akara Yarns. This happens to be blue sapphire, and I think most of them, all of them, have sparkles running through them, and they have really handy little cards so you can keep your notes about your spinning, and they tell you the fibre content. So this one happens to be Dorset, Suffolk, and Sparkle. So the different colours of fibre have different fibre blends, and it's a really fun way to get into spinning something a little different.
Yeah, so it's like taking somebody outside their crafty comfort zone, or if someone's tried knitting, or you tried to get them going on knitting before and it didn't work out, but they're interested. So that's one option. The other thing is we have these gorgeous needlepoint kits that are we've talked about them before. This is a collaboration between Fil Relax and Buku. So
there are 2 formats that we have, a smaller one and a larger one, and they contain absolutely everything except the frame. You've got pre-printed fabric in there, so you can't go wrong, and you've got all the colours of thread that you need and a sweet little printed bag that you can use as a project bag later. And instructions.
And a needle.
And a needle.
Yeah.
And the instructions are in English and French. So everything you need to get started, and you could end up framing it, but I think some of them would be super adorable in like sewn onto a coat or sewn onto a tote bag. Use it any way you want, and it's needlepoint, so slightly different from cross stitch, but really intuitive. And I can tell why they call themselves fil relax, like relaxed thread. It's when you have it printed on there, it's paint by numbers with thread. You know that the result's going to be beautiful, and you get to practice something new.
Yeah. We love this.
Really fun little gifts, and appropriate, I would say, even like quite young ages. You know, if they're
it's a blunt
anyone
needle.
like 8 and up-ish, if they're already crafty, already have that like manual dexterity, would have a fun time with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And then outside sort of the crafting zone, we also just, we have these beautiful Loki bags. They're always popular. And they are an excellent stocking stuffer, same like Secret Santa.
I pass them around.
Office Secret Santa, that kind of thing. It's perfect.
Yeah.
You can never have too many.
And we've got such a range. I just grabbed so many. I don't really know why. But
like pretty much of any style or aesthetic.
Paintings, illustrations.
We've got something very, very
That's
Montreal, very Habs friendly.
Playing ice hockey on Van Horn.
And the Mona Lisa.
Mona has that one.
Yeah, of course, because she's Mona. We have tons of different prints, and basically what happens is there's a little tote bag for them, but inside, can I open one? Is that right?
Yeah, let's open them.
Okay.
They are easy to fold back up and get. It's not like unfolding an Ordnance Survey map. Like they will fit back into the pocket again.
So basically, it's just a reusable tote bag that happens to be really cool and fun.
Yeah. They have an interior pocket. They hold up to 20 kilos. Really good for milk and that sort of thing, groceries. And then they also, if you ever do lose the pocket, they have this snap closing on the side, so you can roll them up like a sausage and
then fold them up. So, especially here in Montreal, at least, it's zero tolerance on the plastic bags now.
You will not get a bag wherever
you go shopping. So having a couple of these tucked away is really important, because you may find yourself stuck.
Yeah.
So these are fantastic, and they're Loki, L-O-Q-I, not like the mischief god.
No.
It's a Q. So you'll find them on our site by looking that up.
And then, lastly, Steph asked me if these were really gifts for non-knitters. I think they could be, because I think this would be a super fun way to jazz up any kind of store-bought hat. We've talked about these pom-poms before. They have a snap closure. So you can just sew the back of the snap onto any hat, and then, hey presto, you can put a pom-pom on it, and you can mix them between each other too. So if, or maybe your gift knitting hasn't been speedy enough and you buy somebody a hat, that's allowed too. And they could switch out the pom-pom for different colours.
Yeah.
Because they all fit together. I think that would be a fun gift for a non-knitter.
Also might be
super soft.
It's kind of like a fun cheat if you're like, oh, I'm going to knit a hat for everyone in my whole family. And then you don't get there. You could be like, I will buy a hat for everyone in my family, and then put a cute pom-pom on it.
Exactly. It just adds something fun.
Yeah, makes a little difference. So we love these. And they are a big part of sort of what our next section is. So let's leave them out on the table in case we want to reference them again. But we know a big part of what our customers are looking for around this time of year too is that you're gift knitting. We're doing it too. We're trying to balance our store samples and our design work with, who on the list is knit worthy.
Yes.
And what are they going to get?
Maybe like 2 or 3 gift knit projects might happen this year.
Yeah. So, me personally, one of the things I really like to do for gift knits is I love hats. So I put together sort of a few ideas based on if you come into our store too, there's like styrofoam heads everywhere with hats on them. We come back to hats a lot. It's not only hats, but I'm going to start with that because I think that they're they're often unisex. They can go on anybody. And even you'll see in hat patterns like sizes for kids. And the truth is, once a kid is over 6, they can wear an adult hat for the most part, unless it's like a very large, like an XL. My kid and I can share hats at this point. Heads don't change that much. So you really could knit for anybody. So I'm going to start with a classic Espace Tricot pattern called On the Sea Train. There's over 1,000 projects of this on Ravelry. If you're able to use Ravelry, you can check them out there. And it's knit at a worsted weight, so 4.5-ish millimeter, 4.5 millimeter, 5 millimeter. And so we've knit a few of these over the years, but I thought I would recommend Drops Air. It's a really lovely, soft, lofty yarn that we have lots and lots and lots of colors.
This is one of our most popular yarns for gift knitting because basically anybody is going to feel like this is soft. It is the two most common questions we get when people are looking to knit for other people. Is it machine washable? Does it itch? And we can answer the first, it either is or it isn't, but the second is very subjective and the answer can be different. And there are some yarns we don't recommend for gifting to somebody who has sensitive skin. But Drops Air and it's sort of twin-ish Camaro Snufnug, which
is
can
coming
be
up too.
Interchanged to an extent, are both universally, in our experience, soft.
So one of the things I think Naomi and I will do is we will kit up a bunch of these hats as well that we're talking about. So if you want to just do a really quick look through our kit section, but of course you can always look at the pattern and decide how many balls and what colors and all that stuff. So another classic Espace Tricot pattern, if I say so myself, this is one of the first patterns I wrote for the store many years ago. It's called the Belle Fille, which means daughter-in-law in French. We often get people around this time of year saying, oh, I'd like to make something for my daughter-in-law specifically. And so they're looking for something classic. They're looking for something that looks like maybe a little store-bought. So this is knit in a fingering weight yarn. It has a very simple cable on it, sort of with a section plain in between. I think I got inspired by something I found at Simon's. So for this, I would recommend Lang Merino 150. So that's a fingering weight yarn. It's superwash merino. So this is also something that can be washed in the machine on cold, which is often important. I have some superwash yarn recommendations as well to go through. So this is I'm trying to match colors as much as possible, but these are really patterns we come back to over and over again, whether they're in the original yarn or not. The Lang Merino 150 is going to be a great choice for this particular pattern. So that's the Belle Fille.
And we're showing a lot of grey, but the thing is grey goes with everything, and importantly, grey goes mostly with the common colours of winter coats.
Yes.
So that is something people also are really thinking about when they come in. They'll be like, well, her coat is blue, or his coat is orange, and we have
I wish there were more actual his coat is orange. It's mostly like everything is grey. And I always feel like, isn't there enough grey in Montreal winter? But, you know. Another absolutely, I'll stick with hats first. So this is the pull the wool over hat. It's a 4x4 rib down at the bottom here, really classic sort of finishing at the crown, and it's kind of an Aran weight, so it's slightly heavier than on the C train, but very similar kind of weight, and knits up really fast. We love to put giant pom-poms on it. We have like lots of versions of this from over the years.
And another key difference is this is a 1x1 rib the whole way through. It has a different crown shaping. This is a more of a classic toque rib than stockinette vibes.
So just looking for something that we have in stock that would give you a similar look to this beautiful original version of this. I don't know if that one is it a button? Is the La Mano Como Grande, which is a sort of a worsted weight, very, very soft merino. And I thought, why not pair it with the Barocco Ariel, which is our printed mohair,
Ta-da!
To get this kind of vibe. Oh, yeah, and then change out the pom-pom, get a completely different feel.
It totally changes up the look.
So, yeah, would be beautiful together. You would get that same kind of feeling, and a really, really gorgeous gift, I think, and fun to knit, too.
Yeah. So that's the important thing with your gift knitting. You have to be knitting something that you actually like the process of.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but, around the time of year where I'm at home a little bit more because it's those days between Christmas and New Year's, I'll spit out a hat a day. I'm just like, here, have a hat. Have a hat.
You want a hat?
You get a hat. Another very popular pattern. I've knit, I think, 5 of these over the years. This is the Getting Warmer cowl. So this was designed by Melissa. And it's a simple garter cowl that actually is worked from the bottom up. So you start with the ribbing and you move your way up. You just do your stacked decreases. And it sits kind of on the shoulders and gives you a little turtleneck. Great for cold offices. Yes. If you do wear this under a coat, I find you kind of have to pull up because it doesn't go over the shoulder. Well, I was just about to say,
that's kind of the great thing about it. When you do need to put your coat on, just hike it up. And then you get this extra warmth around, like, as if you've wrapped a cowl around twice, because it kind of doubles up the fabric around your neck when you do that. So it works. It doesn't look like it would work with a coat, but it really does. Why don't I?
Go ahead. I knit a couple of these. I knit one for my mom, and she plays viola in an orchestra. And
I
so
didn't know that.
yeah, she does. So she likes to wear this when she's playing viola because she can still move her arms and everything, but so she's not got the bulk of a cardigan, but she's kind of got that extra warmth.
Oh, you know what? Thinking about that, I'm like, imagine somebody barbecuing.
Yeah.
Outside at this time of year. Like,
exactly.
you still kind of almost can, but you need a little extra warmth. Or
you want use of your arms. And
snow blowing or whatever. It just adds like an extra layer of warmth while you can still use your arms. And so what I was talking about with your coat, you put your coat on.
Yeah. And then
it forces this fabric up, which is as if you've got a double layer of that around your neck now. Then you take your coat off, you just shimmy it back down over your shoulders, and you're ready to go.
Yep, it's beautiful. So yeah, when my mom wore it to orchestra, I got requests for 3 more.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess. That was before I was in this position where I was like, I have no time for that. So in terms of a yarn recommendation, this is the Snefnug Natur. Snefnug and Snefnug Natur are basically the same thing. They're just on different bases a little bit.
It's dyed and undyed.
Yeah. So this just seemed like a really great color match to the original, but really anything would work.
But we do still have some left in stock as well.
We do have some left in stock.
We may have dismantled the kits, but we could put them back together again if we have enough of particular colors.
Okay. So if you've got a kid to knit for on your list, this is something we come back to all the time. It is an adorable little fox scarf. So the way it works is there's actually like a little garter tab here in the back that allows you to put this through. So it's almost like a cowl scarf. I don't know. So when it's all on,
Do you want to put it on me?
Yeah, do it.
It's just so
What's
cute.
It called? Fox Scarf by Gina Michelle.
We'll link it in the patterns.
Yeah.
Not having a kid myself, I imagine part of the reason this is so handy is that it's not coming off the child.
Yes. Yeah, it stays on, which is really nice.
It's like a keyhole.
So it's kind of like
This little face.
So like that. And so yarn recommendation for that, we have this great chunky merino superwash by Plymouth. So I even found the right colors for this. You just need 1 skein of each, and you can knock one of these out. A couple of little buttons for the eyes, or if you have safety eyes, you could do that too, or you could embroider eyes on it. What a fabulous quick knitting, super duper fun gift. We love this. Every year it comes back out.
Super cute.
And, you know, I mentioned that this is superwash yarn. That is something that I'm going to be talking about, because when you are gift knitting, maybe for people who aren't familiar with caring for hand knits, looking for a superwash yarn is a nice thing to do.
One gift that I've done before that went down really well, I tend not to gift socks, even though people often ask for them, don't realize that's actually like a really big ask. A pair of like actual stock yarn, 32 stitch gauge socks.
Yeah.
But next best thing is slippers, and these are the sort of thing that are super fun to make because it's kind of like low risk in that people are going to wear them around the house anyway. If it's not the perfect style for them that they'd wear out in the world, or that would go with their outfits, whatever, it doesn't really matter. You're just in the house. So this is the Sutton Slippers pattern that Diana Waller designed for our chalet collection a few years ago. And it comes in a few sizes, and again, a really satisfying thing about knitting slippers instead of socks is how fast they go, even though it's a pretty standard sock construction with a, I believe this is an afterthought heel.
Yeah.
So they're knit in the round for the colour work, and then you work the heel afterwards. But again, it goes by super quickly because it's a 24 stitch gauge. And then you can just pop some little slipper soles on them. And so this is a non-superwash yarn, but that just means it's extra cozy. People are going to be wearing them on top of socks anyway, usually. And with the slipper soles, it protects the bottom of the foot there. So machine washing isn't even the main concern. We don't carry the phenol yarn in as many colours at the moment, although it is on sale if you want to put together 3 colours of phenol yarn for this. It takes 5 balls total, so you can find a bargain there. But for this actual colourway, I think the Sonder Yarn Co. Sunday morning would be absolutely perfect.
And that's a Sunday morning DK?
DK, yes. Because of this 24 stitch gauge, and you want it still like dense and cozy, I wouldn't recommend the fingering weight. I think they'd be too floppy and not resistant enough. But I think the DK is just lofty enough, 2-ply spin, that it'll condense down really well into colour work for a denser project at that gauge. So I thought these 3 colours, which are
perfect.
Under the duvet is the darker grey. This is the classic offline. And then Farmer's Market for the green. How perfect is that of a match?
But of course, what you could do also, what's lovely about the entire Chalet collection is also worth looking at because it's a lot of color work like this where there's 2 shades of gray and then a pop of color. So you can kind of customize that pop to the person you're knitting for. Or for yourself. And so there's some that has a hot pink accent, and then this one has this nice fresh green.
And if you did want to make some matching accessories, you know, that pop, you'd have enough yardage to make a few different things from the collection. 3 of the patterns use the same yarn. So you could make a matching set,
or the
matching
hat.
mitten, matching hat. So we'll link to the whole collection down below. And then we also have, in a few different sizes, the slipper soles to sew on the bottom. They're pre-punched. It couldn't be easier. To sew them on. You get some thread with it too. So those are fantastic. And they are with suede, made in the US with US cowhide.
Lovely. So, I mean, I guess to wrap up, I was talking about Superwash yarns. So if you're a knitter, probably you've had lots of experience with both superwash and non-superwash yarns, and I'm not going to get into all the reasons why we often prefer non-superwash, because when we're knitting for others, that is a consideration, is lifestyle. So when we're talking to customers, we're like, oh, do you think they're going to hand wash this? Okay, not so much. You know, they have 3 kids and 8 dogs, and, you know, that maybe is not the person to buy a woolly rustic for. So I just wanted to showcase a few of our really nice, like we really make a point of when we're sourcing superwash yarns or treated yarns that they are good quality, and we've worked with them a lot, so we really believe in them.
And that they feel, part of that quality that we're looking for is feeling
good as you knit.
Feeling woolly, feeling natural, but remaining soft.
So 2 classics right away is the Barocco Vintage. If you are a regular with us, you know we've carried this forever. It is 50% acrylic, or 55? Hang on, let me double check.
It's acrylic wool and nylon, 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon.
So it's almost a 50-50 split. So you do feel the woolliness in it, but it has that long care. It's great for blankets and sweaters for kids, but really anything. This knits at a worsted weight. You know, I chose some nice sort of holiday tones. Colors. So this is a worsted weight, but so is the Ultra Wool.
Now this is 100% wool, and it does feel it. You don't feel quite as much of that like traditional acrylic softness, but it still maintains its texture and shape really well after washing. With all of these, never put them in the dryer. What's going to happen with acrylic content and superwash yarns in the dryer is they just lose their shape because the heat reacts with the acrylic in such a way that they get floppy and often lose their shape.
And it's funny because it's a bit counterintuitive. We think maybe the dryer is going to help them
Shrink
fluff up,
or
but they
whatever.
don't. So be cautious with that. Really, it's like when we say superwash, it's about the wash, not the dry. And so this wool is great for anything with texture as well. Like I love my Barocco Vintage, but if I'm knitting cables or really high contrast sort of texture, I'm probably going to choose the Ultra Wool because it's going to show more.
And this will sit really nicely in color work too. It has enough of that just slight extra toothiness of a natural wool so that it's not going to be slipping around against itself in color work, and you're going to get a really nice, crisp, even effect.
Yeah. So still in this world, I mentioned the Merino Superwash.
This is a lovely soft one.
Yes, this is from Plymouth. It's a 100% Superwash Merino, and it's up more of like an Aran to chunky gauge. So this is going to be great for really fast projects that you're looking to do quickly, and comes in really sort of classic shades, I would say. So you can have a look for this one. We really love how this one feels in the hand too. It's really nice.
Feels like a true merino.
True merino.
Like those bases that hand dyers use because it just dyes up so beautifully. In a similar way, the colors that emerge on this beautifully crisp and bright.
Yeah. So that's in like the heavier weight gauges, but then you might be knitting something at a lighter weight gauge. I mentioned the Lang Merino 150 for the Belle Fille hat. So again, going in for those beautiful holiday colors. So we have the 150 as a fingering weight. So it's 150 meters per 50 grams. And then we have the 120, which is a DK weight. So that is 120 meters per 50 grams, which makes it easy to remember which one is which. Again, this is, and then we recently restocked the 120, and I think we're about to restock the 150. So we have a pretty wide range of colors. And these are great for kids knits. I have done many sweaters for my daughter in this. They really do hold up. They don't pill. They don't bleed. They're excellent yarns.
They're often the closest substitute we have for some older patterns like those gorgeous vintage layettes or patterns that people bring to us from Filda or like old Bernat magazines, often we
This
realize
is the closest.
that the closest match is this one. This would actually be a fantastic option for those satin slippers in the chalet collection
If you wanted
did
to
want
go
that
finger-
machine
yep.
washable. Although in that case, the suede slipper soles
Can't go on.
can't go in the wash.
Yeah. And then lastly, this is brand new to us, is this Laine du Nord watercolor sock yarn. So it's obviously a lot of our sock yarns are superwash or have a blend of superwash and nylon, which is what's here. So this is a classic 75% wool and 25% nylon. So they're going to be nice and long lasting. And these have like a slow color gradient in them, and they're a perfect match. So you knit your first sock, and then you come to a spot in the middle of the cone where there's a white area. And that means it's time to start your second sock so that you can get a perfect match. So if you are someone who does enjoy knitting socks as gifts, this is something that I think would be super fun to try and make a very impressive finished object.
Absolutely. Each of the labels and our website shows what happens with that gradient.
Yeah, so you get a really nice,
Check
clear
that
idea
out
of what
in
that's
detail.
actually going to look like.
And we've been talking about this as an alternative for Shirley Bryan yarn in a couple of the patterns we designed for that yarn. And people have come into the store looking for it for
That's
those. So
amazing.
for the funnel cake sweater and TBD shawl, this is a good option too. You just sort of want to make sure that you get rid of that white part in the middle when you're winding the yarn off. But we do have Shirley Bryan coming back.
Yes.
So we're excited about that. Talk about a great gift for a knitter.
Would be yes, of course. We'll let you know when it comes in. Obviously, if we had it here, we would have led with that. But in the meantime, this is a lovely substitute.
Yeah.
And you know what we didn't do? Talk about what we're wearing. Do
I
you
was
want to
just
wrap it up?
thinking that I need to remember to check in with Steph about what we're wearing at the end of this podcast.
Okay, well let's finish up with what we're wearing.
Well, you've seen this one before. I only chose it because the colour was on theme. This is my drop sweater by Albiona McLaughlin in Bronze Tricot colour brick in the Happy 4-ply, and which is not behind me. It's the other side of this rack, but the mohair as well.
And
this probably will be my Christmas sweater. I can imagine this will probably be what I toss on Christmas morning with some like elf themed pajama pants. I don't know.
I would like to see a picture of
seen
that.
far ahead.
And I threw on my latest finished design.
We haven't brought this to the podcast yet.
No, this is definitely, it's one of the reasons I was like, well, I should wear it. Even though
Yeah.
we'll probably come back and talk about it more, but this is called Grid Love, and it's a classic top-down yoke that was knit in Noro Curion with Noro Haunui, which are both worsted weight, Aran weight yarns. So it was a quick knit, and the cool thing about this, speaking of gift knitting, is it's in 26 sizes. So 13 bust/chest sizes. And then each one of those has 2 lengths, so different length sleeves with different decreases and different body length. So if you are looking to be knitting a sweater for the men in your family or someone very, very tall in your family, basically if you have a specific size that you're looking for, you want a unisex, genderless design, that's what this is meant to be. And it really is like make your color choice.
Yeah.
You can use color changing, you cannot. But it is, if you got started now, I think even if you're a slower knitter, this is something you could whip up in time for the holidays for someone special.
It's an 18 stitch gauge. It really packs a stunning impact. Like, you know that these yoke sweaters, you don't find them in stores. But at the same time, I think that it has enough, it has a design sensibility that isn't like, oh, you made this, didn't you?
It's like on the edge of that, but hopefully in a good way. Like,
totally in a good way.
I really wanted to, emphasize all the beauty of hand knitting and the beauty of Noro yarns, which we've talked about how much I love them. But it's warm, it's cozy, and we actually had Naomi's husband Michael try this on to sort of really do that proof of concept that this really is a sweater that's sized for everybody.
And through the whole upper body area and chest, this is a size 6. It fit him. He's about a 38 to 40. He wears a men's medium usually, and it fit him really well with just the amount of oversize that he likes. He does like that. He doesn't wear very fitted sweaters, but we realized, again, proof of concept thing, the sleeve shaping really does make a difference. The sleeves, not only were they too short on him, he's 6'2", his arms are long, but the decreases, you could tell they were a tighter fit than he would usually wear in his sweaters. So that tall sizing, which has different ratios of the decreases through the arm, would have been better for him.
Yeah. So whenever you're knitting sweaters for somebody else, too, one of the things we like, if you have the opportunity, go into their closet, measure what they love to wear, and that's going to give you a really good sense of what size you should be making.
Yeah, if you have a chance to take measurements, sleeve length and body length as well as just the actual pit-to-pit measurement are really crucial, because those are the little things that like you might not ever get a chance to fix, but really will end up making the difference between whether the person loves it but never really reaches for it, or loves it and wears it all the time.
Yeah. Anyways, good job.
Yeah, I think that would be a good chance to wrap up.
Yeah, so
Wrap up.
Oh, good fun. So yeah, we will get this out there, and of course we'll have the show notes if you want to scroll down and find some of the details. We're hoping to put together a blog post that has this information as well. And until next time, happy knitting, happy shopping, happy crafting, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Bye, guys.